I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Jujutsu Kaisen, Season 2, Episode 12. We are hoping that Ino is not dead.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could be dead, but I don't want him to be dead. You know, I think my only reason why I was like, oh, he wouldn't be dead yet, last episode in the discussion, was that we hadn't seen the other beast summons yet, but then while editing that episode, I had noticed that before Toji had hit him, he was in the process of acknowledging another summon, which makes me believe that he had, and we just saw it off screen, which makes me think that he's dead. And I don't want him to be dead, but it's Zen and Toji. I'm sorry. What are you to do?
And it's unfortunately very narratively compelling to kill a character before they can show you the breadth of their talent. Unfortunately, I really don't want Ino to be dead. I don't see how he can, if the opponent across from him has all of the power of the appearance that he has taken upon himself, I don't have good feelings for Ino, unfortunately. Even though Seance is so cool.
It is
okay,
cool.
Okay, can we just, I need to know.
I genuinely don't want to. I don't want to.
You don't want to click the button?
If we just wait here long enough, do you think that it'll end better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or it'll click itself, just so we have to see it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, that was Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2, Episode 12. Goddamn. I have so much, that stands out immediately that I want to talk about, but I guess just going down the line, one of the first things we saw was Nanami going to Ijichi, which I assume I get from his wordage later in the episode is alive still, based off of his potential training to become a sorcerer himself. But in that moment, we had the flash of, I believe the name was Yuki Tsukumo, who in Hidden Inventory, we learned that he was, Nanami's classmate, and he went out on a mission and died.
Yes.
That's a fucking insane flashback to have. I'm glad it was literally, there's some shows that do it, that focus way too heavily on, this is a flashback, right? This is all you need. This is perfection in terms of a flashback.
Yeah,
it
happens so quick that because of the use of color, when you were watching the episode, obviously other people might have caught it fully, but when I was watching, my eyes immediately went to the red of the cut and didn't see the rest of the face.
Yeah.
And so all I saw was this slash blood mark because that color, my eyes focused in on the red compared to the more bluish gray tones of the rest of the screen.
Well, the unsaturation of being dead, right?
Yeah.
You have no color in your face. And it's just, I think that the choice that every choice that this show makes is one-upping it in comparison to other shows that I watch, because this is literally a dream come true in terms of a flashback for me, because it's not about the flashback. It's about Nanami's state of mind and what he's thinking and how it reminds him of something.
How this enhances it too. What goes forward.
100%.
In obviously in watching, I didn't know exactly who it was because it happened so quickly and my eyes were drawn to the red. But once we closed out with the episode, and we're, figuring out that that's what the flashback was, that's what the flash when we're looking at Ichiji is, it really informs, even more so than the dialogue at the beginning, where I already could have understood how Nanami's dialogue at the beginning, walking up to the body, could have morphed into the vain tension in his hands and how angry he was.
Yeah.
Even by his own words as he's, talking about all the bodies he's been passing of people that have died. And that could have just informed itself, but having, getting to go back and find a little moment that you didn't quite unlock or didn't quite realize during the first watch through that really just makes everything make even more sense than it already made.
Yeah.
Where I already could follow the flow, I already could understand, but now it's like a cherry on top to really actually fully understand and have all the information. I don't want to like leave this part of the episode without reading like Nanami's opening to the episode.
Yeah, like what lines he was saying. Getting irritated at my own failings never has been and never will be a part of my life. I love the way that they draw him, man. Like, you can get so much off of his facial expressions. I will simply confront the evils that force this reality upon us. And I will simply... There's the flash. Arrogant bastards.
Can't even finish his sentence.
It's beautiful.
He can't even finish what he was thinking because of that flash. It's like it's almost like he's hyping himself up internally in that moment to remind himself to stay on path.
Stay on task.
To
like
stay
keep a level
on task.
head.
Like, remind yourself, you never focus on your failings. You never focus on anything other than the enemy in front of you that you need to be fighting.
And then you legitimately have a split-second thought of one of what you could deem as your failings because of the regret of not being there to help, right?
Even though we know that mission had been his first solo, but when we watched Hidden Inventory and watched the intros for the beginning of this season, we really do get the idea that, like, yeah, Geto, Gojo, Iri, Shoko, you know, they were a team, and then Nanami was on Yuki's team. But so they were probably closer.
And what's a great way to convey that feeling is literally our main cast, right?
Fushiguro, Itadori.
Exactly. You can so easily parallel it. Then it's like, okay, Fushiguro's sent out on a mission alone, dies. How the fuck do you think Itadori and Nobara are gonna react, right?
Honestly, maybe they're using Nobara as the Yuki here, because Fushiguro and Itadori are, as far as Nobara knows, together.
Yeah.
Nobara was the one that was sent away. Maki said, go that way, you know, and Nobara chose then to fight by herself.
Yeah.
That could be the parallel here, but Nanami makes more sense now. Nanami saves Nobara.
Yeah.
In a way to almost, is that a way to...
It's like the wishing he could have saved Yuki kind of direction.
That he saves Nobara there, that is connected.
I cannot fucking believe... It's not even a disbelief, because it's already exceeded that. I don't know what the fuck the deal is with Toji. Like, the explanation and everything's fine, and I understand it completely, of course. Like, the soul losing to the body, right? But in terms of what this means going forward, is this, like, a temporary thing? Is this, like, a permanent... Like, is this a new life for Toji? Like, what, you know what I mean?
So, I think that obviously it was a worst case scenario for us after coming off of last episode. And we did, like, you know, try to think about it a little bit because we were informed by Geto's hand reanimating basically with Geto's intentions and not the brain's intentions.
The soul.
And that idea of the soul and the power of the soul that we also get with Mahito. And so we were a little bit, worst case scenario, worried about the power that Toji has as an alive individual, and even maybe as even just a part of his flesh would have, and how we thought that the idea that this is playing with fire in general to do this channeling of a spirit, you're already, and obviously Grandma was like, she obviously knows that it's playing with fire because she says in her dialogue that she tries very hard not to cross the line. Yeah. And she feels like, yeah, obviously.
A soul losing to a body, that's impossible. Like, this hasn't happened before, but literally... But
she almost knew it could. Like, she was scared that it could happen.
Like, she was very careful with her wordage and her technique so that the chance of this happening was so minimal that it couldn't.
What she believed might be the impossible, she didn't even risk the impossible. And especially when she's using her grandson as the body.
Yeah. I in my own, like, headcanon understanding, part of the reason why the body was able to beat the soul here comes to, like, that heavenly pact that Toji has of, like, that physical prowess because of the lack thereof cursed energy, that that body and its will strengthens so much, that it's incomprehensible.
Well, if you think about when he chose to take a heavenly pact of that, isn't he putting his whole soul
he didn't choose.
Well, yeah, but isn't his whole soul then becoming ingrained with the power that he's being given from the pact, which is the physical prowess? So then, if anything, the physical prowess is completely, you can't separate that from him.
Yeah.
Because that is,
it's intertwined.
It's so intertwined.
But what do you think, though, going forward? Like, is Toji, number one, is his body limited, because of the means of how he's living right now, or is he at full power? And number two, is this permanent? Like, is this like a new life that you've been given, or is there like a clause?
I don't know, just in terms of all we can do is theorize or guess how it could possibly be. I think that an introduction of a character being able to come back like this, while also knowing that in Geto's case it's not real and that it is a fake.
Yeah.
I think that you kind of have to go for it,
yeah.
Right? And I'm scared about thinking that. I'm very scared about thinking that, but I feel like we were given it's Geto, it's a fake body, again in this episode with Mei saying it and realizing that it's not really Geto and being like, that's a fake body, that's fake. To give us even more reason to be terrified of what's happening here.
So it's a really interesting concept they're playing with, too, because obviously we know the means of Toji's death, right? We know how everything occurred. Mm-hmm. And we also know the fear in everybody's hearts at the thought of Gojo being sealed. Now, who is the one character who was able to not only temporarily thought to kill Gojo, but also defeated Geto? Toji. Now, if the appearance of Geto is that, enemy, the main enemy at hand right now, and Toji is back on the table, that rematch would be fucking not only amazing, but warranted.
Oh, that's a really interesting, thought.
Exactly.
Tunnel, path to go down, especially because Geto has, kind of currently incapacitated Mei, given Mei a challenge.
Yeah.
Mei a challenge, be like, if you defeat the smallpox, then you can then come for me. That means Geto's not currently fighting anyone. Everyone has matchups right now.
But it wouldn't just come out of anywhere, because imagine it's not Geto. Imagine it's just another villain. Then you're like, okay, what would Toji's motivation truly be to go after that? Or if meeting them or coming face to face with them, why would Toji go out of his way to fuck around there, right? But it being Geto's body, I think adds a decent bit of evidence that there would be a fight there.
And I just, I guess my brain can more easily understand or start to guess what an interaction like that might be like versus interaction with Megumi.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to think about how an interaction between the two of them would actually play out. And in my mind currently, it seems like we have removed Nobara and Fushiguro from the table. Those players have been sent out of battle here. We have Fushiguro taking Ino out. Yeah. We've been told by Nanami for Nobara to, get out of here as well. Every battle past this point, past your level requirements. So,
do you think that upon seeing Toji, if Geto was to, do you think there would be a soul-like response like there was for Gojo?
That could be so interesting.
You know what I mean? I think that there would be ample evidence to.
I mean, a matchup between the two of them just by their creation, and what are the components of their characters at the moment is very compelling. You have body, soul, but a different combination being who's in charge.
So how it would play out in my head if they came face to face is the exact same thing that Nanami had, with the same flashback, but instead it's just that flash of Riko falling dead and Geto's body remembering that for a second, because of that, that's what induced the fight, right?
And we know that death heavily informed Geto's actions from that point on. That was a pivotal moment for him.
So
pivotal for Gojo, actually, too. So imagine his presence alone anywhere near. I don't know if Gojo can sense anything from outside of the prison realm that he is in.
Yeah.
But if he could sense this presence, what would that do to him?
I wonder if Mahito went up against Toji right now, what that would look like in terms of like the importance of Mahito's vision of the soul and how that differs from the body and what's more like what's stronger. I wonder if he looked at Toji right now, if he'd be able to tell that he was seanced here, or if he'd be looking at the actual embodiment of Toji.
And it's just good to bring up that Toji is no one's ally.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, he could literally be put into a fight with anyone at the moment, and I think he would happily get in a fight with anyone in the moment.
I typically am not the person to like ever fan relationship theory, you know, between two characters in the show, but just for a second, Toji and Mei, you know, I think I could see it.
Really? Power couple.
The idea of money. And like what you do with it. Like I could like see like almost like slice of lifey type of arguing, because one of them has such like a like precious view of money and wanting it, and the other one's like gambling with it and trying to get more. That's my like fan mashup relationship.
I also hate it. Sorry. Mega people would be like, what about mom?
So the idea of okay, so the fight with Nobara, I was and kind of am incredibly scared for Nobara, because like the concussion sequence, or like where we got to see her brain moving around and hitting the inside of her skull, that is like, that's almost like showing us a character getting their arm cut off and then being like, oh, okay. Think about if they got into another fight right now. Right, they'd be weighed down by that.
Technically, Fushiguro and Nobara are not out of harm's way, so they could be trying to mess with our expectations a little bit, with being like, okay, well, these characters are now being moved off of the table. They are supposed to be leaving.
I hope she's leaving.
But what we got in this episode was getting attacked when you're running away. The idea of running away, from both the villain's perspective and from the hero perspective, the idea of running away and then being stopped from running away was in this episode.
That and like the Nobara sequence ended, and immediately what came after, we'll get back to like one of the best parts of the episode after I say this, but it being Itadori and Choso, like the next sequence when we've thought about, okay, who's going to fight Itadori?
I thought it was going to be Nobara and Choso.
Yeah,
like, so I really 100% thought it was going to be Nobara and Choso.
But the fact that it immediately comes after that makes me like, oh, I know.
I mean, is Nobara going to listen to Nanami?
Should.
But would Nobara listen? Personality-wise, would Nobara listen?
I think so.
Would Fushiguro listen?
I'm going to say Nobara will, and that she's out now, and I'm glad about that. Unless something, like, horrific brings her back in. That being said, my favorite part of the episode... Oh, wait, before we even get there. Check out this, this is one of my favorite transitions ever. So Toji stepping forward towards this old woman. Oh, and then just, like, instantly appears next to her to kill her. Amazing. Okay. Nanami. Nanami coming in this episode made me feel so many things.
I mean, he already is, like, my Jujutsu Kaisen crush.
Okay.
Like, he is my favorite. And so this episode was definitely, like, made me very, very happy. Yeah. He was terrifying, and I loved it. I loved how terrifying it is. As soon as he gets kicked and there's no movement and sliced and not cut, and then as soon as they showed, I like that they keep showing the watch, you know?
Yeah.
The fist.
But a wall, like after trying to punch him in the abs, and it's just like, what is this? Like his shirt's not ripped. He didn't get cut, and then it just Nanami. Oh my God.
Getting serious is like. It's a great setup. It's a great, like, working up into something. As soon as he, like, gets serious and started tying, you know, around his fist, I was like, ooh.
That whole fight sequence, it's even a joke to call it a fight when Nanami arrived, right? It was
very overpowered.
They do such a good job in Jujutsu Kaisen to, like, lean into that overpowered type of, like, regard in a fight, whether they typically do it with Gojo, right? But how they did it with Nanami was so amazing this episode. And it led to one of my favorite lines, which hit so hard of, I'm the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the fact that it came from Nanami too, after showing such a feat of strength, like without even using his tool, like that goes to show how fucking serious he is.
Mm-hmm. And that this guy was just basically preying on the weaklings.
Yep.
The ones that weren't actually sorcerers, they were the assistants to the sorcerers.
God, that...
He was supposed to attack anyone in a suit.
It's scary to think that Nanami's the bare minimum. Like, because
Mm-hmm.
he's, like, so up there in terms of, like, power to me. Obviously...
And they give him such a show of power, terrifying, intimidating episode here, and then give us that line. It definitely helps the audience then start to feel even more worried than they did before. And it's really funny because they get you on this, like, high in this episode of feeling, like, really obviously worried at first with Nobara, but then really secure and solid and safe with the Nanami fight. And then for his line there and the believability of his line there, like, he's not going to just sugarcoat something. Like, he genuinely means that. Like, that he's the minimum here. He's not downplaying his own strength when he's saying that either. Like, he's not being, like, what's the word? When you're, like, self-deprecating.
Yeah.
There. So yeah, definitely worried going forward. I want to go back to that idea of would Nobara or Fushiguro get re-involved? I still think that maybe even if they met up together, they might try to re-enter the battle together. Fushiguro...
For Itadori's sake, even.
Yeah, for Itadori specifically. Fushiguro's not tired.
Yeah.
Fushiguro, I think, still seemingly has a lot of strength left.
I agree.
And so, and Nobara, maybe concussed, but was seemingly okay once sitting on the bench.
Still concussed, in my opinion, but yeah.
Probably still believes they can fight, especially if they have Fushiguro next to them.
For sure.
And that they probably would want to go. They don't want to lose Itadori again.
Yeah.
The line of like, oh, if I die, you'll kill me. So maybe if they met up again, they would choose to go in together.
Perhaps. Do you think Mei has domain expansion? Like, we know Nanami doesn't. Do you think that she could beat the fucking smallpox deity disease curse, which is horrifying?
If she did, wouldn't they have shown us that in this episode?
Not yet, maybe. I mean, she's... What's the way to beat a domain expansion, right? Mm-hmm. You use your own stronger domain expansion. Yeah. That's a good way to do it. And we saw her in the domain expansion, but we don't know what her next move is.
I guess I would have expected that would have been a good cliffhanger for the episode of, like, her in it and then some type of movement or showing as if she's going to be doing her own.
Her saying that,
but there was a great stance. She did have a very power stance.
And it's been a while since somebody threatened my life. Also, like, the adage earlier about her technique is manipulating crows. I wonder if she could have, like, a crow-like domain expansion.
I love when she's talking about how she became grade 1 and how she worked herself up to this position, that when she was younger, she viewed her technique and the crows as relatively weak and therefore worked on her physical ability to fight. And then she realized, like, she ended up putting more attention once she ran out of being able to work on her physical self. She looked back at her technique and her abilities and decided to give it a little more time and attention, and now has become a grade 1.
Yep. Excited for next episode.
I'm nervous for next episode.
Me too.
I'm scared.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And we hope to see you next time.